Hi there, my name is Stephanie DiGiacopo and I'm here today for my SCAD benchmark review. I'm going to start by reading my artist statement to you, and then I'm going to walk through my work and talk to you about it as I go. The body of work developed for my 15-hour benchmark review is comprised of drawings and paintings. The drawings were created monochromatically from observation, with photographs used for additional reference. By removing color, the marks and surfaces take center stage. In this way, my work highlights surface energy for a more direct feeling. My work's focus is on nature and animals. In nature, there is a vastness felt in the textures that interplay. I'm drawn to instances of light intertwined with shadow, where they weave together to create a webbing with a life of its own. Those instances are sustained moments for me to further describe on paper and canvas. By simplifying and massing highlights and shadows, I define forms in my paintings. In nature, I find an endless opportunity to explore this connection. The tangling of shadows and light in trees or across the coat of an animal feel like sentences to me in an exotic language. I study this language and add to it my own reflections in the way I put marks against paper or spread paint on canvas. As a child, drawing for me was a way to say something important without having to speak up. Today I continue to draw, seeing and saying by carefully putting marks on a page. Through this, my paintings share the strength and importance of a quiet aesthetic view. Okay, so these first four pieces that I'm going to show you are from some of my earlier classes at SCAD, which I wanted to just show to give a starting point of where it all began for me. These first two pieces are both 11 by 14 oil on canvas. The first one is called Fig Leaves and the second is Macy on Grass. In both of these I was simplifying my shadows, using color and texture to develop the shadows as important subjects in the paintings. In this piece, it is titled Abruzzi Landscape, and it is 20 by 27, and it is oil on canvas. I stepped back and incorporated a higher viewpoint in a more wide open landscape. I continued simplifying shadows into abstracting shapes. This piece is called Contract, and it is 56 by 39, oil on canvas. This is a narrative painting based on a poem called Contract. In this painting, I depict a mysterious and inviting landscape. I used a limited palette, atmospheric perspective, and smooth blended brush strokes to create a mood. My recent work for Studio One ideation class consists of drawings and paintings. In starting my drawings from observation, I was able to quickly and intuitively record my subjects in small 8 by 10 sketches. Those looser small sketches were then expanded in the studio into these more finished drawings. The first one is Ramapo Reservation, and it is a 24 by 18 charcoal on paper. It's a stylized glimpse of a summer morning with sunlight hitting the ground through the trees. After completing that, I wanted to simplify it even further into broader shapes that could still define the space. Here I used powdered charcoal with brushes and water. In both of these drawings, Black Bridge 1 and Black Bridge 2, the first is 20 by 18 charcoal on paper and the second is 19 by 24 charcoal on paper. And these are two views of the same brook. In the first, I used very quick, heavy lines in changing directions to describe the movement of the water and the texture of the leaves. In the second, I reduced the marks and simplified the areas of light and dark into broader, less detailed, and more stylized shapes. In these last two, Macy on Pillow, Macy on Blanket, these are both charcoal on paper, they're both 18 by 24. I rendered the form of the dog within the blanket and the pillows, and I drew her and her surroundings with the same loose directional marks on the page. In moving from my drawings to these final paintings, I was curious to see how the loose expressive marks from my drawings might translate into brushstrokes in my paintings. My recent works are monochromatic. All are done in burnt umber and white. As I mentioned earlier, my marks and surfaces take center stage in these final works. This one here is called Ramapo Trees, and it is 24 by 18 inches, oil on canvas. I used curvy lines, shapes, and brushstrokes to emphasize the quality of light spilling across the rolling landscape. This piece is called Black Bridge Stream. Again, it's 18 by 24, oil on canvas. And here there are a variety of brush strokes used to define different surfaces. There are softly blended brush strokes that depict the slowly moving water, and short choppy strokes to show the leafy plants that line the water. This piece is called Black Bridge Rocks Across Water, and it is 18 by 24 again, and oil on canvas. And here again, I used a variety of brush strokes and textures to emphasize the landscape. This piece is called Macy's Nap, and again it's 18 by 24, oil on canvas. In this piece I used very loose brush strokes and a heavy paint application to show how light wraps across a dog's coat and rolls across the surface of a textured blanket. In this last piece, Sunlit Stream, it's 18 by 24 again, oil on canvas, and Sunlit Stream depicts a quiet summer landscape. Compositionally, there are strong Baroque and sinister diagonals, which work to establish a sense of balance in the piece. There is a clear point of entry in the lower border of the canvas. The aerial perspective establishes depth, and the curving banks of the stream create an enclosure. The shapes of highlights and shadows create a perceptual shift. Up close, the marks look like textured abstract shapes, but from a distance they read as trees and grass. This demonstrates vitality in the piece. The wide range of values shows complexity. There is evidence of unity in the structural and spatial organization that can be seen in the depth established by the atmospheric perspective. The painting exhibits aesthetic goodness, according to Monroe Beardsley. I've really enjoyed sharing my work with you today, and I want to say thank you for listening.